What were you doing at the age of 16? Learning to drive, hanging out with your friends on the weekends, participating in sports? Malala Yousafzai won the Nobel Peace Prize. In short, this girl right here defied the Taliban in Pakistan and demanded that girls should receive an education. She was shot in the head in 2012, survived, and then won the Nobel Peace Prize for peaceful protest. This book is her story. Malala Yousafzai won the Nobel Peace Prize because she is a remarkable young woman who knows how to keep moving forward in spite of dire and unfair circumstances. She was born into a culture where women are predetermined to serve a life of obedience and have very limited freedoms. When she was 10 years old, the Taliban entered her hometown in Pakistan and turned her beautiful place that she lived into a war zone. They controlled everything from media to schools to they were kidnapping women, they were shut down businesses. They took all of the books, CDs, TV, and put them in a bonfire and burned them. They were beating people, they blew up buildings, and then murdered if people were resisting force. So both Malala and her father stood up against this and spoke out against all of the evil that the Taliban was doing in the world, and especially in their town, and also just for the rights of education for everybody. So her dad was a school owner, and he quickly found that Malala um, was a significant figure in his life and wanted a good education for her in her future. So they both became targets of the Taliban. On Tuesday, October 9th in 2012, Malala almost paid the ultimate price. She was shot in the head at point blank, and she was riding the bus home from school. And many people didn't expect her to survive, and she was only 15 years old. She went on to write this book. This is her. She's amazing. And she dives a little bit deeper into her story and shines a light on the amazing strength it takes to stand up for what you believe in and always finding a way to move forward despite of really tough times. One of my favorite passages from this book was on page 217. It says, "As we crossed the Malacan Pass, I saw a young girl selling oranges. She was scratching marks on a piece of paper with a pencil to account for the oranges she had sold, as she could not read or write. I took a photo of her and vowed I would do everything in my power to help educate girls just like her. This was the war I was going to fight." I thought this was a great passage because it really symbolizes what this book means to her and the whole point of it. Um, but diving a little bit deeper outside of the book, what I thought was interesting to bring into the classroom was that on her 18th birthday in 2015, they started to call this Malala Day. So she started taking action globally by opening a school for Syrian refugee girls in Lebanon, and its expenses are covered by her fund, and it was designed to admit 200 girls from the ages of 14 to 18. And she went on to give a speech, and she said, "Today, on my first day as an adult, on behalf of the world's children, I demand of leaders we must invest in books instead of bullets." And I think this is such a powerful statement. She also asked her supporters on her website to post a photo of them holding up their favorite book and sharing why you choose books, not bullets, and tell world leaders to fund the real weapon for change, education. She also wrote that the shocking truth is that world leaders have the money to fully fund primary and secondary education around the world, but they're choosing to spend it on other things, like their military budgets. In fact, if the whole world stopped spending money on the military for just 8 days, we could have $39 billion needed to provide 12 years of free education to every single child on this planet. I think that right there was emotional for me and empowering, and this is why I chose this book. Um, she empowers young men and women in the classroom, and I think you can bring this into your own classroom. Many times as a young student, it's really hard to picture caring about a cause in the community or even the world and feeling as if you can truly create change. But I think this book is a great example of a strong individual who fought for the right of women to have education, and in doing so, won one of the greatest honors, the Nobel Peace Prize. So, in my own classroom, I think I would definitely have them read this book, and then they would post their favorite book and why they choose it for the Books Not Bullets. That would be one of the activities. And then also, I thought it would be a great idea to ask students to consider their own passions and what kind of charity that they would establish, just to show perseverance and that you can overcome pain that occurs in your community and build up from it. So I encourage everybody to learn about her story. She's an amazing girl.